Jay, that's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
David Montgomery on the Lions, former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap, hold, kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Only Football. Tonight, we are talking Week 13 predictions for Sundays and Mondays games. We're also going to take a look at the playoff picture, where it stands, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. Kyle and I decide. We're always 100% correct, so Kyle and I are going to decide. And of course, what are we going to end it with? Well, we always end it with the Chives with Kyle. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Week 13 on the Only Football Podcast. My name is Rick. That's Kyle.
I'm Kyle. That's Rick.
Damn it. Today is going to be a good one because some of us, like Rick said earlier, we're going to be talking about the playoffs later. And to be quite honest, it's that time of year where, quite frankly, the playoffs have already started.
Yep.
Whether we're going to get in or not depends on what happens in these games. There's a couple teams, for instance, 49ers playing Philly.
Kyle?
Did you hear me?
I did not. I'm sorry. I froze there for a second.
No worries. So I was just saying, even like a game like the 49ers and the Eagles, where you're like, both are already in the playoffs. Yeah, but seeding is still up for grabs, right?
Yes,
Cowboys
100%.
got a big win tonight, so they're one game back. Philly's got a tough game. That's just one example. But there's playoff games all over this schedule. Mm-hmm. We're going to start with a game. I'm actually happy about this. Let's start with a game that's not a playoff, right? They say to save the best for last. And the opposite of that is probably this. The Chargers are going to New England to take on the red-hot New England Patriots. Patriots are 2-9. Their worst record since 1992 when they finished 2-14 on the year. Mm-hmm. Things aren't really great for Bill Belichick. We don't know if it's going to be his last season. Chargers, Brandon Staley, his seat's hotter than it's ever been. And it feels like we've been seeing this for 2 years. But
yeah,
after Sunday's 20-10 loss to the Ravens, they dropped to 4-7. They had 4 turnovers, including 3 fumbles. This Chargers team seems like a team that should be playing a lot better, but yet they just shoot themselves in the foot. This is going on the road to New England. Belichick plays tough at home. I'm going with the Chargers. And simply it's because the Patriots, I believe, are probably the worst team in the NFL right now. They can't score. And on the other side of the ball, there's Justin Herbert. So I didn't have to think about this at all.
Yeah, I didn't really have to think about this one either. This is in New England, but the Chargers are the much better team, even though they've had the season they've had, even though the defense has been as bad as it has been. The New England Patriots have had the worst season comparably, right? Like they are just like bad. They are so bad. And that's with a veteran quarterback. Well, veteran quarterback in number of years, right? Like we're looking at the worst seasons. We're looking at Carolina. We're looking at Arizona, right? But Kyler Murray's been out. You got a rookie quarterback in Carolina, and you get over here to the Patriots, and you're like, oh, no, this is actually the worst season because they have an established team. They have a coach who won 6 Super Bowls. Again, this is easy. Not even against this defense of the Chargers can Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi or whoever the fuck Bill Belichick wants to throw out a quarterback do well against. Not even this offense can do that well against. The only thing that the New England Patriots have going for them is Ramondre Stevenson. That's it. That is the only thing they got.
There's one more thing.
What's that?
They have a top 10 draft pick.
They have a top 10 draft pick.
That counts. Do you know Bill Belichick's only had that high of a pick? Right now they're slated to land the 3rd pick. They haven't had that high of a pick since 1993. And guess who they got? Bill Parcells was the head coach, and guess who he drafted? Number 1 overall.
I don't know.
Drew Bledsoe.
Oh, Drew Bledsoe. Yeah.
And then the other time was when Tom Brady tore his knee. They got a really high pick not really high. What was the other year? The other year they got Richard Seymour, number 6 overall. And they got Jared Mayo at 10 overall. So one thing you can say for sure, we talk a lot of shit about New England's drafting, but when they're in the top 10, they've been hitting out of the park. So I just want to throw it out there. That's one thing going for them. They could land Caleb Williams, to be honest.
They could. That could be a very real possibility. But yeah, I mean, I guess during the season, Ramondre Stevenson is the only thing they got going for them. Mac Jones is terrible. The offense is terrible. You've had people in that offense go down with injuries. You've had, again, Mac Jones not doing anything he did in his rookie year. Bailey Zappi is just kind of just a stop, just like a quick okay, let's try to cause a spark here with Bailey Zappi. The Chargers, again, Herbert at quarterback, much better quarterback, much better established, better numbers, better decision making, sort of, and yeah, the better offense. The only thing is, will his skill players let him down again this week? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping to have like a Chiefs type of week where we dropped a bunch of passes, we fumbled a bunch of balls. Now we're gonna not do that. We'll do one drop the entire game. We'll see how that goes. And obviously Herbert's having a tough time and Staley's having a tough time. Again, hot seats on both of these sides of the field for sure. But I got the Chargers winning.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, the Chargers are charging this whole season away, but New England finds a way to find new depths every single week. When you feel like they've hit rock bottom, they're like, hold my beer. And they may be going with a different starting quarterback. Everything is just pointing Chargers here. And from everything I've seen the Chargers, but in some weird way, I just got to say this. If I don't say it and I'm wrong about this, it's going to kill me. Isn't it just such an NFL thing when we all agree on something for like New England to win 13-10? I don't think it's going to happen. I'm picking the Chargers.
Oh, okay.
But Belichick at home with the odds against him, I don't know. There's something about that I don't know.
I feel like we've been saying that for like 4 weeks now, though.
You're right. I mean? That's why I'm not doing it. Why I'm not doing it.
Like, I was going to say.
It's just because for my whole life, I'm not used to Patriots looking like a for sure, no-go. And for most of my life, the Detroit Lions were bad. The Detroit Lions are now good. The tides have changed. They go into New Orleans like bad loss on Thanksgiving. Let's just call it what it is. Bad almost loss, but great rally against the Bears. Great win against the Chargers. Now, I did believe that Chargers game took a toll, so it rolled over to the Bears game, and the Bears game rolled over to the Packers game. Now you got 10 days of rest. I think Detroit's going to come out firing. I got Detroit in a big win.
Yeah, let me just double check myself here. Yeah, I got the Lions as well. Now hold on.
No, I shit my pants.
I just did it in a split second. It just came out.
Real quick, have you seen Whitest Kids You Know on MTV?
Oh, of course, of course.
You know the one where he falls asleep and he's like, "Ah, I fell asleep and I got poop on my face in this meeting." Because they're in a business meeting and he goes, "Oh, gross," and he throws it on the ground. And they're like, "Did you just pull shit out of your butt in the middle of this meeting?" I'm sending it to you if you haven't seen it.
I need to see that. I have not
so
seen
good.
that.
Okay.
All right. Both of these teams coming off bad losses to division opponents from last week, right? We talked about the Lions and Thanksgiving, New Orleans on Sunday against the Falcons. Both games that I feel like each of them could have won. The Detroit Lions being the one where it's like on Thanksgiving, like, dude, you got to win those games, especially in a season where you're leading the division.
Yeah.
Jared Goff having a tough time securing the ball, right? Fumbles, interceptions. We go back even to the Bears game. He threw 3, and yet somehow they still won that game. They couldn't do that against the Packers. The defense is becoming a real issue. While we say that Jordan Love has been very good, this defense for the Lions should have been better and should have been better enough to beat him too. That was not the case. So they're struggling on both sides of the ball, really, when you look at the Lions. But it's not anything that should cause total panic yet, I believe. Like if Jared Goff continues to have games like this, then it's like, are you rolling into the playoffs with a quarterback that is throwing more interceptions and touchdowns in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season? Because if so, that's a recipe for a first round exit, right? Now the New Orleans Saints, on the other hand, having a tough time against the division, having a tough time in general. Derek Carr there. Again, I said it last year when they finally signed them. Okay, the New Orleans Saints are for real. They're going to win the division. They've got a ton of talent on their side of the offensive line, or on their side of the ball on the offense. And the defense can be good. They've still got some names. Cam Jordan, right? Like you still got names there who can produce and who can execute on the defense. The thing is, they're having just a tough time on the offensive side. Like you see Kamara, you see Derek Carr, you see Olave, you see all these guys just struggling to make this offense work. And you've seen it a lot throughout the season. They win one, they lose 2. They win one, then they lose 1. And then it's just so inconsistent. Even at home, these two teams struggling pretty recently in this season. I'm taking the Lions to win it. But if Jared Goff starts to turn this ball over, more than twice, I think the Saints at home can take advantage of that and get the dub. But straight up, I'm taking the Lions unless some bad stuff happens.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the narrative, week in and week out with the Saints, because quite frankly, they're just too talented to be this bad. I mean, as long as we're able to say, if Derek Carr pops off, if Chris Olave has a 150-yard game, if Alvin Kamara gets multiple, like we always will be able to see kind of a scenario where the Saints win at home, but they just haven't been playing like that this year. So I'm right there with you, going with Detroit. Our next game, the Atlanta Falcons going to New York. The Jets opened up Aaron Rodgers' 21-day practice window, which means that the 4-time MVP is eligible to return at any time now, less than 3 months after tearing his Achilles, bro. Less than 3 months. And then on the Pat McAfee show, they were saying now people are coming out saying that he didn't really tear his Achilles, that it wasn't really torn.
Yeah, I heard.
And Rodgers, it was actually at the very end. So if you just want to fast forward to the last minute, he said, "Oh, if that's what you think, go fuck yourself." Right.
I love that quote.
I do too. From a person that has been through a serious injury, like there's nothing worse than other people trying to gauge your medical business. Like it's nobody's business what somebody's going through medically. Yeah. Nobody. We only know about it because we saw it on TV. Like, do you really think he would return 3 months after an Achilles? He would attack his rehab like that? But so listen, this is so ironic. He would attack his rehab like that to get back on the field, but he would also fake an injury to not go on the field. What?
None of that makes sense. And these allegations, if you want to call them that, are ridiculous.
They are ridiculous. But this is going to be an Atlanta win. I think. I think, unfortunately for Aaron Rodgers and Jets Nation, I don't know what you call yourself. I think this season is gone, and I think it would be in Aaron Rodgers' best interest not to return this year. Now, I know I've been pushing it, but I'm looking at the AFC, and I'm telling you right now, it's gotten to the point where even if the Jets win out, I think there's going to be teams with better records. Why risk putting him out there for 2 games? But I know Rodgers I feel like he needs, how the greatest competitors, Michael Jordan, Kobe, they always make some kind of enemy in their head. Somebody a
make
teacher in college, you got to make it personal. I think Rodgers made it personal. So I do think he might need to do this for him, but it's a coach's job to keep a player out of his own way. However, let's talk about the game. Atlanta played a really good game last week. Okay, they got the win against the Saints. Nobody really took Atlanta to win that game. That was a huge divisional game, and I think Riddler had himself a good game. The weapons were getting involved. I don't know. It was one of those games where I was like, this is why I predicted Atlanta to win the division when the season kicked off, because I see the talent. And I don't know if Riddler if it was a fluke, but if it was, they're going to have another opportunity against a bad offense to win again. But the one thing, the Jets have a really good defense. They are at home. I could see the Jets winning this game. I could see them playing really good D. I could see Bryce Young running the football for 100 yards and maybe getting 2 touchdowns, not asking the quarterback to do too much, and winning an ugly 16-19 game. I'm going to go with Atlanta here, but I would not touch this game.
Yeah, I had such a tough time with this one. And you mentioned the Falcons' good win against the Saints last week, while the Jets are just kind of, their season's in the toilet, man. It really is. But I got to go with the Jets in this one. I think the Jets are actually going to take the dub at home. I think the defense is still very good. Borderline elite, right? Like, they're that good. It's just the offense cannot do anything at all. And yet somehow I think the defense actually wins this game for the Jets. If anybody's going to put a ton of pressure on the Falcons and on Ritter at quarterback and stop, Kyle Pitts and stop Drake London and stop Bijan, I think it's going to be this New York Jets defense. And I think it's going to be off a pick 6 that they get a 13-9 win against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, that's what I got, man. The Atlanta. I don't want to touch this game. I don't really have much to say about this game. If Ritter's a quarterback. It could be Heineke at this point. It to me, it's just this Jets defense is too good, and I think they're going to win it. Tim Boyle, I assume, may start. It depends on how, again, Aaron Rodgers wants to come back or whatever. Regardless, it's not a good game. It's not something you want to watch. I'm glad it's in the early slate.
Yeah, in Rodgers, I'm assuming he's coming back next year. So if that's the case, and the season's over, yeah. And that's why I love Bill's comment. I put it up here. He said, put him in for 1 snap and pull him. He gets his mental win. Honestly, that is that I agree with that all the way around. And I don't even think it's corny. I think he should be rewarded for the way he attacked his rehab. And they should put him out there for a snap, and he'll get a standing ovation in 2024. Will be the Jets year. Our next game is the Steelers. And the Steelers topped the 400-yard mark after failing to do so in 59 consecutive games, the first game after firing Matt Canada. Arizona Cardinals on the road going into Heinz Field, Steel City, the Berg, black and yellow. And
Black and yellow.
Pittsburgh, I guess at this point of the season, we think there might be good. Like, the defense is really good. The offense had that one game. I'm telling you right now, the way that Pittsburgh's trending versus Arizona's terrible loss against the Rams, I'm just going to go with Pittsburgh here. I think that you got 2 polar opposite, on the spectrum right now. Arizona's looking like a top 5 overall draft pick. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's playing for the playoffs at home. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm also going Pittsburgh here. The thing that I'm looking for in this game too, since we're not really going to do a favorite matchups for this week, is how this offense does the second week after firing Matt Canada. Can they continue to go in that upwards kind of, path of getting over 400 plus yards on offense. Kenny Pickett looking good and getting it to all of his receivers, throwing it over the middle to Pat Freiermuth, getting it to Najee Harris, getting it to Jalen Warren. Yeah. And being able to kind of what Najee Harris said during one of the media things, he's like making it unpredictable versus making it being super predictable with a Matt Canada offense. So that's what I'm looking forward to in this game, because if they can do that, if they can have 2 weeks in a row after firing their offensive coordinator, where their offense looks a lot better and is gaining a lot more yards, then okay, we know for sure that Matt Canada was a problem. Now we give the rest of the season to this offense and see what they can do with their new coordinator, with their interim, whatever it is they want to do. Is Kenny Pickett for real? Can Deontay Johnson and Pickens be the 1 and 2 in Pittsburgh? And can Jalen Warren and can Najee Harris really be a 1 and 2 punch there running back? And can they gain those yards, right? But it really does revolve around Kenny Pickett. Again, at home, Tomlin taking the dub against the Cardinals. The Cardinals on the other side. Kyler Murray looked good again 2 weeks ago, coming back, and then he kind of took a shit last week against the Rams. Did not look good. It did not look good, whatever offense the Cardinals were doing out there. But Cardinals are a top 5 draft pick right now. That's where their season's at. That's kind of what they're, in a sense, playing for. If you're management and if you're ownership, Kyler Murray still wants to prove that he's going to be a franchise quarterback, that what the deal that they signed him to is going to be worth something. So I think he's still going to go out there and try to ball. Like there's no part of me that thinks he's just kind of giving it up. I think he's going to go out there and ball, and he might throw for a couple touchdowns, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win like 24-14, 24-13, something like that.
All right. Our next game is my upset of the week. The Indianapolis Colts going to Tennessee. Mike Vrabel's great at home. Really good at home. I think last week, a lot of people weren't picking them to win. They won at home last week. Let me see. I forgot who they played.
The Tennessee Titans played the Panthers and won 17-10.
Okay, so barely winning over the Panthers, not encouraging at all. Indianapolis, meanwhile, has one of the best offenses in the league. Shane Steichen is the guy for the job. It almost makes you wonder what would have happened if Anthony Richardson didn't go down.
Yes.
And it looks like the Colts, man, they're a serious playoff contender. This is one they have to win. And I think Tennessee I'm seeing what do you call it? Playing spoiler?
Playing spoiler, yeah.
Playing spoiler. I could see Tennessee at home with the crowd in their back, Derrick Henry having a big game, and in Indianapolis just after the game being like, oh my God, we had the playoffs,
yeah,
but we lost to the Titans. And it's like, well, it's the Titans and Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry at home, and it's a divisional game. It's definitely not the popular pick. That's why it's my upset of the week.
I love it. I'm actually going the opposite way. I'm taking the Colts to win this, to really cement themselves as, like what you said, a real playoff fringe caliber team. Not really fringe, but they're going to probably be one of those top. Yeah, they're going to be one of those wild cards. I think I'm going to call it now and say the Colts are going to be in the playoffs as a wild card.
Fuck. You know what that means for me, right?
Yeah, that the Steelers are going to lose out and then the Broncos are going to get in.
Okay.
Oh, guys. Oh, no, I like that.
Not too bad. Good prediction.
Yes. So I've got the Colts winning against the Titans. I don't know if Will Levis has enough. He did good enough last week against the Carolina Panthers, and we've seen what the Carolina Panthers are. But if the Tennessee Titans can only muster 17 points against the Panthers, whereas the Indianapolis Colts are scoring at will against anybody and everybody, I think this is kind of a recipe for disaster for the Tennessee Titans and their rookie quarterback. I don't know because one thing that the Colts do on defense is they let up a lot of points. We've seen games, high scoring games where they're giving up 30 plus, 35 plus points. But I just really do not think this Tennessee Titans team can put up that many points, even against a Colts defense that in this season has let up 30 plus. I think it's going to be, I don't know if the Indianapolis Colts go past 30, because I think what they're going to do is they're going to get a comfortable lead and take their pedal off the metal, if you will, and maybe win 28-13, probably a 2-score game, I would say. And Gardner Minshew, man, he's looking really good as a backup right now, but I don't know. He might be signing somewhere. It might be some sort of Geno Smith type of career revival he's having in Indianapolis.
Can I interest you in Derrick Henry for a second? He's had 4 consecutive games with 76 yards or less.
Ooh.
The Colts run defense has been one of the NFL's worst, allowing 129 yards per game, 26 in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a game Derrick Henry goes off. I think he runs for $120, multiple touchdowns. I mean, that's the only way this team's going to win. Let's be honest.
That's true. That is 100% true. And Shaquille Leonard, linebacker for the Colts, just retired, got released, something cut. I don't know what it was. Either way, he is no longer on the Colts. Obviously injuries and stuff like that, but a huge blow to that defense. So might get worse or it might get better. We have the Denver Broncos to look at like that, right? You get rid of a Randy Gregory, the defense elevates and looks better. Can this be something that the Colts can take advantage of, or will it just get worse? I'm still taking the Colts, but if Derrick Henry does go off, not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, I think I should probably start him this week. What do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Over Breece Hall?
Ooh. Oh, God damn. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
All right. Maybe's good enough for now. I'll ask you every night until Sunday. Our next game, the Miami Dolphins going to DC to take on the Commanders. Miami's been playing good ball. They beat the Raiders, not by a ton, but the Raiders were on a 2-game winning streak when they played that game. I think that was actually a good win, even though some people may not like it. Then after that, they destroyed the Jets on Black Friday. That was a great win.
Yeah.
And Miami's going to win this game. They're going to go to Washington and win. But watch out, because Washington has a quarterback named Sam Howell, and he loves to air it out. And I could see Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell getting into a little back and forth. Miami just lost their best pass rusher, Phillips. Tore his shit.
Achilles.
I'm not sure what it was. Okay,
Achilles, yeah.
That is a major loss. Who's going to step up as the lead pass rusher? Is it going to be Bradley Chubb? I'm not sure, but I do think missing that piece, Washington may have a little bit more time to throw the ball. I think Miami wins this, but it's a game that leaves Miami fans worried about how good they really are.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I could see Howell going 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in this game and like 320 yards. You know what I mean? Like I could see this easily being like a 24-21 Miami win. I'm going with the Dolphins, 24-21. Miami doesn't put up huge numbers on the road, I believe. They did win. I think they put up 31 last week though. But a Commanders defense. Yeah. And a Commanders defense that just got rid of their defensive coordinator, right? Del Rio just got fired. Maybe they might be better, right? Like they have not been better, obviously, since Montez Sweat and Chase Young have departed.
Such a dumb firing.
And it was one of those firings where they're like, we need to fire somebody. We need to. And it's not going to be Ron Rivera, and it's not going to be Bieniemy. So it's got to be somebody. Hey, Del Rio. My bad.
Jack's a great coach, man, and he tells it how it is. He's not one of those coaches that just is cliche about everything.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that guy's not good at this, but this is what he's good at, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So I can see the Dolphins winning this. It's going to be a close game, I think. I think Tyreek gets 2 touchdowns. I think Raheem Mostert rushes for 1. And I think Tua, honestly, I think they might think he might throw a pick here. And I mean, not huge news, nothing out of the ordinary, but I think he could throw a pick here to give the Commanders maybe a chance there at the end. But the defense does stop the Commanders. 24-21. Miami Dolphins win in the state capital.
Yeah, and and we're going to pull up the playoff picture a little bit later. It is interesting in the AFC right now because you got teams like Baltimore, Chiefs, Dolphins. Those are the really the big three, and it's like which one of those is gonna pull away from the others. And Miami's really lucky because I looked this up like 2 weeks ago. Dude, Miami doesn't have a tough game till week 17 and 18. Week 17 they play Dallas, and week 18 they play Buffalo, or vice versa. However, before you feel bad for them, they are going on a Washington, Carolina, fucking New Orleans. Like they're going on a nice little vacation here.
Yeah.
So Miami's, because of the strength of schedule, they're another team that I'm looking at closely along with Jacksonville to see. I do think at this point Jacksonville's probably had a harder schedule. But they're neck and neck. Miami's 8-3, Jacksonville's 8-3, Chiefs are 8-3. And who's the other team I named? The Dolphins. I guess
Dolphins, Chiefs, and
Dolphins, Chiefs,
Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens. They have a bye week, but I think they're 8-3 as well. Maybe 9-2 actually.
Yeah, they're 9-2, I do believe, because they're at the top of the AFC. 9-3.
Okay. What's the guy's name on Joe Rogan that looks up stuff? Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, look that up.
When you were on deployment, I would always be like, "Hey, Jamie, can you look up Miami's record?" And Bill was like, "Fucking." He was like a live Jamie.
Hell yeah.
I was about to throw back. Jamie, what's Miami's record?
Just throw it back. Love it.
Okay, so yeah, these games are really important. And Miami is, do you see a scenario where they end up with the number 1 seed in the playoffs running through Miami? I mean, how high are you on this team? Because they won by 70. Everybody was like, this is the greatest offense maybe ever. And things have gotten quiet, but Miami's winning. I guess the question is like, where do you stand with this Miami team, and what do they need to do? You know, is there something they could do to raise up their value?
I mean, they're going to be a division winner. They're going to host a playoff game in the first round
over Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's lost last week against the Eagles, while somewhat expected in a sense, like was a real season killer. And division winner killer too. The Dolphins are going to host the game. They're going to be a division winner. Where do I have them in terms of like a 1 through 4? Maybe a 3 or a 4. I think
they
they're
go
not
to the
touching.
Super Bowl.
I don't think so. They might be. I mean, we really could see a first round exit, or
I think we will.
You know, they can get to the second round maybe, or even I just
second round.
Yeah, I don't see them going to the AFC Championship. I really don't see it. But in this NFL, it could happen. But I do have them like at a 3 or 4 seed going to the playoffs as a division winner.
All right, Rick. You got the Denver Broncos, the hottest team in the NFL. Actually tied with the Eagles. The Eagles and Broncos are both on 5-game winning streaks. I mentioned it earlier. The Broncos beat the Packers. That was awesome. They beat the Chiefs. I'm going to say at this particular moment in time, this is the hardest game. And I'm not just trying to talk this game up. Dude, I watched Houston Jags.
No,
Houston is very good. Very good. And CJ Stroud does remind me of Mahomes in his rookie year. And I'm like, he is clearly the best player on the field most of the time. He's going to be up for MVP. He might even win it. Denver's got to go on the road here. They got a tough stretch. They got 3 road games. And really, we're going to find out in the next 2 weeks if Denver's going to be an 8-9 team or if they're going to be a 10-7 team. And that's the difference between making it and not making it. This to me feels like a playoff game because the Texans tied with Denver with the same record, coming off a tough loss to the Jag. If they lose this game, you know, Denver jumps them. This is about as much as a playoff game as you could get at week 13. And you got to just credit the Broncos for turning their season around, man. They're 6-2 in their past 8 games. They've only had nine turnovers on offense, but they have 21 takeaways in their last 8 games. 21 takeaways. There was a hashtag trending on X or Twitter. It said "Dirty Denver." I don't know if you saw that, but it's hashtag Dirty Denver. And now that's the I guess the phrase that they are being gifted with because of the way they're playing defense, and probably because the guy that's head coach, to be honest. But Denver's defense is playing great. Patrick Surtain's having first team All-Pro again. Surtain or Simmons, you can make a real argument that he's having his best season ever at like 32 years old. 31.
Nice.
So I mean, I just feel like Denver's kind of tapped into who they are, and what I'm seeing though is that they're getting better every week. They did not. They won against Cleveland in the first quarter and never looked back. Right, 29-12, a safety, 3 takeaways. This is a team that I think we're all hesitant to go. This is a really good team, right? For whatever reason, it's not the opponents that they've played. It's the way they're winning football games. Now they beat Cleveland in a different way, a way that we could actually buy in, and it hasn't happened yet. I even have held myself back. They're not in my top 5. This is the game I need, to be totally honest. If Denver goes to Houston and beats the Texans on the road, I think they're going to the playoffs this year, which is insane, dude. 1-5 to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's something I've never seen in my life. And this is awesome. Season 2 of Only Football, we are witnessing history. This is single-handedly the greatest. If you take the points per game from 1-5 to the winning streak they're on, it's the greatest defensive turnaround in the history of this game.
Oh yeah.
And we are watching it 1 week at a time, and it just continues to surprise us. For me, I'm just along for this ride. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting to the point now where I feel like we're playing with house money. Like the fact that they already turned it around, like I don't want to be greedy and be like, I need the playoffs. You know, because it's like every time you get something, you want a little more, you know, and it's like, I'm getting close to where I feel, I guess like closure, or like the season wasn't a loss. Like I feel like, yeah, we didn't win it all. We were never going to, but we beat the Chiefs. You know, we improved every week, and this game is going to really determine. This is a fork in the road. Now they could lose this game and still make it to the playoffs, but they also have to play the Lions still. Lions and Texans are the hardest 2 games left. The other ones is Patriots, Chargers, and Raiders. Yeah. They could win those 3, but the Texans and Detroit games, I feel like they're you got to get those, because those divisional games, you can split the series and take an L. This is a huge game, Rick, and I'm a little bit nervous to hear your prediction, because I got to think, man, if I wasn't a Broncos fan, I'm probably going Texans here. I don't want to. Yeah. But they look great right now.
They do look very, very good. I just have questions about how well CJ Stroud will do against this team. Talked about the complete turnaround the Denver Broncos defense has done since they got rid of Randy Gregory, right? Like that was really the turning point. That was 100% the turning point, right? Yeah. And obviously getting wins on offense, that winning 5 in a row, obviously that fucking helps, right? So I just, if CJ Stroud can get past Surtain, Simmons, the pass rush, then they're going to win. But I just have a hard time seeing, this is a tough one for me because of that, because of how good CJ Stroud has been, because of how good the Texans team has been really in general, their offense and defense, how good they've been, but also the Broncos are right in a 5-game winning streak in a game where in a stretch where Russ isn't necessarily lighting up the stat sheet, right? And in a stretch where where you've got Javonte Williams doing everything he needs to do, where you've got the defense getting sacks, getting turnovers. P. Ryan is huge in the clutch. Huge in the clutch. Like, honestly,
Pro Bowl
Sutton, Cortland Sutton catching touchdowns with tippy toes inside the end zone for like 3 weeks straight, contested, double coverage. He is that guy.
Russ is playing good football too.
And that's what I mean. He's still playing good football, and yet he has not had this like ridiculous 320-yard game, 3 touchdowns. He's playing efficient football. This might be one of those games where he finally lights it the fuck up.
Oh,
and can absolutely beat the Houston Texans at home. Kyle, I got the Broncos going 6 in a row, baby. I've got the Broncos 6 in a row. And what's funny is I think this game and I think the 2 games against the Chargers that are left are going to be the hardest games.
Let's go.
I don't know if the Raiders, I don't know if the Cardinals, I don't know if even the Lions are going to be that big of a match against the Broncos. Outside of these next 3 games, not in a row, but the next 3 games against the Houston Texans and both against the Chargers, those are going to be the ones where if the Broncos lose 2 out of those 3, I don't think they make it. But if they can win 2 out of those 3, even go 3-0 in those 3 games, they're definitely going to make it. I could see them going fucking 12-5, 11-6. Like, I could see them.
Could you imagine they go 1-5 and never lose again? Run the table, as Aaron Rodgers say. I want to hit this comment by Quincy Jacinto.
What's up?
I don't know if we've ever had you in here, but absolutely a pleasure. Sup, boys? Let's fucking go. My Niners are looking like my Niners. Like a future dynasty, your Donkos are looking good. And I'm sorry that you're a Bears. What's up with everybody wanting to call the Broncos donkeys? We're not fucking donkeys. We're a wild, untamed horse.
At least people don't apologize for you being a Bears fan.
And I'm sorry that you're a Bears fan for Texans because I'm from Denver. But Niners have always been my team. Quincy, I think you're going to be really happy to know that I had the 49ers number 1 in the NFL on my power rankings. Appreciate you stopping in here, and hopefully you enjoy this episode because we're going to get to a 49ers game that is kind of important. I think you would agree. So Rick going with the Denver Broncos at home and you know, like the way you have to look at it, and this is so cliche, but they keep asking Sean Payton, right? They're like, oh my God, like, are you guys talking about playoffs, blah, blah. And his exact words were, as you know, we've put ourselves in positions where each of these games become increasingly more important, but it's just one game at a time. It has to be that mentality because these are really good football teams. You can't be like, oh yeah, we're going to, you know, and that's obvious, but Sean Payton is the type of leader that this franchise has been desperate for. You know what I mean? And Vance Joseph, man, if I was the owner of this team, I was going to fire Vance Joseph, dude. I was going to fire Vance Joseph after the Broncos game week 4. And this is a great moment in sports to just be like, yeah, I don't know like what the coaches know. Like I don't have all the answers. Like as a fan, you know, 70's bad and you know that there needs to be change, but look at that. We got the change and we didn't give up. And Sean Payton didn't fire a guy. He didn't feel pressured. He was like, no, his job's safe. Simple as that. And they were able to turn it around, man. This coaching staff is, I just feel like everybody's bought in. And like you posted, like Russ, they believe, you know what? I don't know what they believe, but I know one thing is for sure. Denver's not favored to win this game. They haven't been favored to win any of their games besides Cleveland. And Denver's really embraced the underdog mentality. If I could have it my way, keep favoring the teams that are playing the Broncos because this team is thriving off of that. And hopefully Sunday will be another example of that.
Our next is going to be real quick. This is going to be a close game. Another nail biter.
Oh, you're going prediction score here?
I'm going 27-24 Broncos. Yeah. Yeah.
No, man. Is it going to be one of those blood pressure games?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I guess we're due for one. Last week was pretty
Mhm.
pretty. We were on a cruise. We
Yeah.
were fucking drunk
It
on a
was
cruise.
nice.
It was so nice. It's good to have one of those once in a while.
100%.
Here's a game that's not good to have ever. Carolina going to Tampa Bay to take on the Pirates. Going to Tampa into the blazing hot Tampa Bay area. I'm trying to hype it up. I got I got the Bucks winning this game. Now, here's my one thing I will say. If you're betting
Mhm.
on this game, one thing you need to keep in mind, teams tend to win immediately after firing their coach. Matt Canada
Yeah.
gets fired, they get 400 yards. Josh McDaniel gets fired, they win 2 in a row. Last year, fucking Jeff Saturday took
Mhm.
over for the Colts.
Got an emotional win.
Got an emotional win and almost beat Philly. I mean, Philly had to come back in the second week of Jeff Saturday just to win barely by the skin of their teeth. There's something empowering of when you fire a head coach, because it's kind of like all of the people.
Mhm.
It's like when you vote for something, it's empowering. It's like, hey, we believe in each other and we got our head coach fired, maybe potentially, because this is what we wanted. Like,
Yeah.
when you lose the locker room, it's over. And I believe probably this is what the Panthers wanted. I don't know Frank Reich, but I know that he's been failing a lot lately. Rodgers said he's a great head coach. I have no idea. He doesn't seem like a great head coach, right? He was bad for the Colts. Now he's bad
Yeah.
for the Panthers. And look at Shane Steichen. He's having a ton of success right away.
Mhm.
Because of that, I'm a little scared to take Tampa, but Tampa being at home is that little umph I need to stay confident with my pick. I'm taking Baker and the Bucks at home.
Yeah, this one is pretty easy for me. It is Bucks. It is Baker and the Bucks at home. There's nothing. I don't know if there's enough, even after a coach is firing, that the Panthers can do offensively or even as a team that could get them a win at this point, man. It's tough to do it when your number one wide receiver is Adam Thielen, right? Like, don't get me wrong, he's a good veteran and he had a lot of good years in Minnesota. I just can't see them winning with him there, right? Like, they have a good, solid young defense. They're going to build off of that
Good night,
in
Bill.
the draft. Bill, see ya. Hey, feel better, Bill. Feel better.
Get well. Get well.
Mm-hmm. Get well, man. I just, they got a good young defense. They're going to build off that. The Panthers, I feel like, are going to be one of those teams that look like complete dog shit right now. But in 2-3 years, we're going to be like, okay, that part is over. And and the firing of Frank Reich, just like it had the same effect it had on the Colts last year, it's just going to be a positive and a step in the right direction. And this isn't any shit towards Frank Reich, but it's just you're just not a coach. You're just not head coach material, man. Your offense was bad. You took plays away. You brought them back. Like it was just a bad relationship there in Carolina with Frank Reich a year after being fired. For the Tampa Bay Bucks, they've found ways to win against teams, and I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to struggle really. If anything, Baker might make it hard on himself and on his team to win this game. I still have them winning though, just because again, like I said at the beginning of this, I still don't think the Panthers have enough to make it that difficult. It's going to be the Bucks are either going to win this game or they're going to lose this game. Carolina Panthers are just kind of in it for the ride. See what happens.
Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Right? The ride of suck. All right. I think one more thing I want to bring attention to in this final stretch of game, we got to remember Baker's playing for his career, not playing for a playoff or he's playing for, I'm either going to be a backup for the rest of my life or I'm going to put something on film in these, next 4 games that is going to make some team, because there's always going to be some team confident enough to, to say, hey, I'll take this guy on my team. So I'm actually pulling for Baker. I don't know why. I guess I'm always just pulling for teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
He's a likable guy.
He wasn't,
Yeah.
but I feel like neither was I when I was his age. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about growing up, where you
Yeah,
got to give
100%.
people a little
Yeah.
bit of grace.
Yeah.
All right. Our next game, I'm fucking actually stoked for, and this is not sarcasm at all. The Cleveland Browns going to LA to take on the Rams. This is a very important game.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you got two teams in very similar situation. Now Cleveland has more wins, but the NFC is weaker. So these are two teams. Whoever loses this game, we're going to drop their percentage of playoff probability a ton. The Rams are coming off two big wins. They beat Seattle, then they beat the piss out of Arizona. Now they're back at home. Cleveland doesn't have a quarterback. I'm taking the Rams to win this game. Cleveland has been able to get through a lot of ugly games and win, but that only lasts for so long, especially if you don't have, I don't know, Deshaun Watson available.
Yeah.
Your quarterback's not even available. They're going to have to go with Joe Flacco, most likely, because DTR probably won't clear concussion protocol because of dirty Denver. But I don't think Joe Flacco has much ball left, to be honest. I mean, he did have a great comeback win week 2 last year where they kicked an onside and did that whole thing. And there was a great moment. Actually, he was playing for the Jets and they were playing Cleveland. So if anybody knew that he had ball left in him, it would have been the Browns. So they pick him up. I don't know. I think Cleveland has, if they had Deshaun Watson, I think they'd be a top 5 team in the NFL. There's no replacement for the most important position. The quarterback's the most important position in any sport, in my opinion. They touch the ball every single snap. Cleveland does not have one right now, and the Rams have a good one. I'm trusting Matthew Stafford at home. I think the Rams get a big win and put themselves in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I low-key actually wanted to make this my game of the week. Low-key, but I did not. I did not do it because, like you said, this is very much a win and get in, lose. You're looking at where you're drafting. That's kind of what this is, right? Obviously, the Cleveland Browns losing Deshaun Watson, having a really good defense, though, and you're thinking, okay, this AFC North, while tough, kind of can be up for grabs. You lose Deshaun Watson, the Bengals lose Joe Burrow. Now it's really between the Steelers and the Ravens. And, it's really the Ravens division. I can't see the Steelers going in to win it. Regardless, this one is definitely, like I said, a game to see if you can get into the wild card. But I also have to agree, at home and with Stafford, if he plays even half of the way he played last week, they're easily going to beat the Browns. Their defense has been good. It's starting to show some cracks. This Cleveland defense is starting to show some cracks. They've got a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball. But I can't see them winning it with PJ Walker. PJ Walker's won games, but I can't see the Cleveland Browns beating this LA Rams team with PJ Walker quarterback. The defense can do all it can. It's going to get tired if it's on the field for too long, especially when PJ Walker or whoever they throw out there, Joe Flacco, is getting a bunch of 3-and-outs. I got the LA Rams taking this one at home. Maybe 21-10, 21-13.
You're just making up a score.
Yeah, 100%.
21-10. I actually, that's a pretty good prediction because although the Browns have a really good defense, or the Rams have a good offense, you're keeping the score low because you think the Browns are going to play a good defensive game, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
But the Broncos scored 29. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think because I've had a team last year with a great defense, lost a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
And this is the time of year where implosions happen.
That's what I mean. They're showing cracks, right? Like
Yeah.
I still think they can be good. I don't think that these teams are just like mailing it in, but like you said, there can be implosions, there can be missed assignments, there can be, scuffles that get penalties that, benefit the other team, shit like that. And when you say implode, that's kind of what I'm thinking of in-game implosions.
All right. Well, Rick, it's time.
It's time.
It is mother frickin' time to talk about the game that we all showed up here to talk about. A rematch of the NFC Championship. The 49ers spent probably the entire offseason talking about how they could have won the game if they had a healthy Brock Purdy. If he didn't break his elbow, this was our season. And I couldn't believe watching the press conference after that game, watching Kyle Shanahan go, we got to start already talking about additions, the offseason, like to be one game from the Super Bowl. And then 60 minutes later, that you're not playing another football game for, 7 months. This was heartbreaking, especially when you have the kind of talent that 49ers have. They are the most talented roster in the NFL, maybe the Eagles. And this is, make no mistake about it, this is a revenge game. And I think the 49ers, look, this is a far road trip. This is pretty far. Pennsylvania to San Fran's pretty far. And they're jumping time zones and all that. And they're going forward, which is a lot more difficult than
it's a lot more difficult.
Those things are going against 49ers, but I actually think all of that stuff is going to benefit the 49ers. And I think this is what they need. They need to get into this underdog mentality. We're on the road, because it kind of plays along with how they feel about that playoff loss. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very fitting that they wouldn't be at home for this game, in my opinion. And I think the 49ers are going to go to Philly and win. And I saw Buffalo play close with Philly. We've seen Washington play close with Philly twice. We saw the Rams play close with Philly. We've seen a lot of teams give Philly a run for their money, but Philly's just so good that it's like the Dallas game. Seattle had their best game, but Dallas is just so good that they end up winning. That's been going on with Philly this whole season, but they haven't played a team like the 49ers. So I get the whole thing. Like, it's probably going to be close and Philly's probably going to win because they win all their games. But this is the one team where Philly isn't on their P's and Q's and they don't come with swinging, and they will. They will. My prediction is that no team is sleeping. No one gets like the better, of somebody. I think this is two teams that are going to go at it in a physical game. And I'm taking the 49ers 27-24.
Oh, wow. Okay. I am dubbing this my game of the week for obvious reasons. It sucks that it's not necessarily like a Sunday night football game, although, the Sunday night football and Monday night football, I feel like it would have been better on Monday night football. This is my game of the week. And we talked about how the Eagles have been winning games. They've been winning them close. They've been coming back in them. You saw last week, Jalen Hurts was not happy at all that they were going into overtime. After the game, he said, I got to do better. We've got to do better as a team. We've got to be able to win this game in regulation. He was mad that they went to overtime and won still. Like, there's no smile on his face. And you want that from your quarterback, right? Like, you want that competitive edge from your quarterback and really from your whole team, right? While you have the kicker celebrating that he got it into overtime, you got Jalen Hurts on the sidelines shaking his head and going, God damn it, why wasn't I better? Right? It's hard to look at that and bet against that. But I'm going to do that with the 49ers, man. I am picking the 49ers to beat the Eagles and give them their second loss of the season.
Wow.
We talked about it.
But you had Philly ranked higher on your power ranking
last week. Yeah, for sure. Now,
damn.
I just, man, it's the 49ers and Eagles. This is insane. This is what we should have had when we had the 49ers against the Cowboys in week 4 or 5, whatever the hell it was, right? Like this is the game that should have been it, right? Like it should have been like this. I think they're going to go blow for blow. I think they're going to just punch each other in the face. I think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I can see this game going in overtime. I'm not going to call it in overtime, but I can see this being very similar to the Dallas Seattle game we just saw on Thursday Night Football, where they score 30 plus each,
or even the Bills Eagles game last week.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm taking the 49ers to win 37-30. I'm getting them winning by a touchdown.
27-20.
37-30.
Ooh, 37-30. High scoring game.
High scoring game.
It also appears that the Eagles may get Lane Johnson back. That's huge for their offensive line, and potentially Dallas Goedert, one of Hurts's most reliable receivers. So this could be really good for the Eagles. I mean, if there was a game to come back, this is definitely the game to come back.
Yeah.
And I know that Quincy, you're a 49er fan, so I did want to thank you for being in here. And I see your comments. We can't hit all of them because we got to go through all of these games, but I will hit this one because we just talked about this actually on our recap of the Dallas Seattle game. He said, who do you have for MVP? I say right now, Dak Prescott is going to be my vote. Rick, I believe you agreed with me. We didn't really disagree about that.
I like that Dak Prescott has been a little bit more pushed to the front of this MVP race in terms of like, he's also in the spotlight, but he's kind of been at the edge of it, but he's also been in it. He's like half in, half out for the last few weeks. Whereas I feel like this game against Seattle, everybody's like, oh, all of a sudden he's an MVP candidate. No, he's been an MVP candidate. It's just Cowboys hate.
If the season ended today, he's got to. If the season ended, we're going to learn a lot in the next 4 weeks.
It's very close. I still don't think we should like go away from Jalen Hurts. And to an extent, Quincy, maybe some Brock Purdy action, right? Like he's been very good this year. Yeah. So why not give him some consideration? Obviously you have your Patrick Mahomes. You don't have Josh Allen this time, really. Nope. You don't have Josh Allen this year.
Trent Williams should be MVP. And I fuck with, I'm not even kidding, dude.
He's
3
good.
games. He was gone for 3 games. All the Niners did was lose.
Big L's.
What happened? Trent Williams is coming back. Destroy the Jaguars.
Yeah.
On a Jaguar team that was the hottest in the league at the time. I wish I could give the MVP to Trent Williams because honestly, clearly he's the most valuable player in the NFL to some extent. So it is funny because offensive linemen will never win it, but if there was one, it would be him.
It would be him because, and that's a reason that I hope the entire NFL fandom, NFL fans that want their team to draft a quarterback or a wide receiver or a running back or some edge in the trenches. That's where you win, man. That's how you win football games. That's how you get your talented wide receivers, your talented quarterbacks, your talented running backs. That's how you win, by protecting the quarterbacks and being able to get a very athletic lineman to move that line on the run game, to block a top defensive end, a top edge rusher in the pass game. That's where you win your football games. Look at guys like Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Kelsey, Joe Thomas, who was on the Cleveland Browns for a long time, just retired and is now in the Hall of Fame, I believe, or going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's where you win football games. That's one of the most important positions. And it does suck that they don't win MVPs when really those are cornerstones of your football team right there, right?
Yeah, so, no doubt. And Quincy saying Trent Williams or Brock. There is a third option.
There is a third option.
How about this guy called Christian McCaffrey, who's fucking dominated? He should be the MVP. A lot of great debate with MVP, and it'll get even better as we go on. Rick, you know what this does to me emotionally. This is a great combo. This is going to make me grab my Packer glove. This is going to make me This is gonna bring the cheese head out. This is gonna bring the cheese head out of me. This is one of those games where it's gonna, if somebody doesn't see all this stuff behind me, they would think I'm a Packers fan. And I love the Packers. Right now, they look really good. They had Jordan Love kind of a roller coaster. So start the season, 6 touchdown passes in his first 3 games. Then they start a losing streak that ended, I believe, with the Denver Broncos. They went on a long losing streak. Then they get a win, and then they get a good win. Who was the win before the Lions?
For the Chiefs?
No, it was for the Packers. They got a win, and then they.
I can't remember. Was it I can't remember.
It was yeah. It didn't matter. It was week 11, but it's one of those things where I like have to look it up really quick. Week 11, the Packers they won against. They beat the Lions week 12, and then week 11 they beat the Chargers. That's who it was. What the fuck? How do I forget that? I've been talking about
Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers. Yeah.
Literally been talking about that in this episode. So, all right, let's talk about this game. This game is very important to Green Bay. Their playoff hopes are alive. Seattle lost. Seattle's going to lose probably next week and the week after that. They're going to trickle down just because of strength of schedule. Packers, they have no easy win. Okay, this isn't like, oh, the Packers got a toss up. This is going to be a very hard game. This game is in Lambeau Field, and Lambeau Field's different in December. It is.
Oh yeah.
The frozen tundra is a real home field advantage. And right now, Jordan Love played a game against the Lions. If you watched that game, Jordan Love looked like if this is the only game you saw, you were like, that's so Raven. You could see the future when Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets. If that's the only game you saw, you would be like, holy shit, we got a third. We got a third. There's a trifecta going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is crazy to say. I said in the beginning of the season, I think Jordan Love's going to be a good quarterback for the Packers. I've seen enough from him in the Philly game last year. And it looks like he's improving week in and week out. Now, the quarterbacks that you really worry about, they don't improve week in and week out. Mac Jones isn't improving. Kenny Pickett's not improving. Russell Wilson's improving. Jordan Love's improving. Great coaching. The Packers are coaching all of the Packers, even the defensive coordinator. They got a lot of young talent flying around. This is a new era of Green Bay Packers. And I think this is going to be the statement win that really kind of catapults the Packers to, just more consistent football ahead. I'm taking the Packers to beat the Chiefs at home. Don't hit the panic button on the Chiefs.
Insane.
You said that when I picked them over the Lions.
Yeah, no, I like to say that.
No, this is not an easy win for any team. So, I mean, I'm going to see really quick what the spread is on this game, or what the line is, just to see what they're feeling. So
Packers plus 6.5.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the Packers they're not even a full touchdown underdog, but they are an underdog at home, which is 6 points. But this game that Detroit game is just such a confidence boosting game. Like, I could see that kind of just rolling over. The vibes are good. Bad teams are vibing right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
that's so true.
Bad teams are kind of vibing right now, and great teams are struggling, and they're tired. And they're tired of fucking battling with the Bears, and you know what I mean, and barely squeaking out wins.
And fucking
I'm taking the Packers at home to upset Kansas City. This is going to be the statement game of Jordan Love's career, which is funny because he got his first start 2 years ago when Aaron Rodgers immunized, the not vaccinated, whatever. He had to sit out of this game, and Jordan Love got his first start against the Chiefs. And I don't even think he got a touchdown in that game. I think they only scored 3, that whole game, or maybe 7.
Oh, wow.
Tops 10. It was not pretty. It was
Yeah.
a very ugly game. It would only be fitting that Jordan Love has the exact opposite kind of game that catapults him forward against the team that he sucked when he first came out, because that's the NFL. You get better every week, and it would be a big reminder not to sell all the stock when a young quarterback is developing. There's a lot to love about this game. I was saying, why don't they put the fucking Eagles and 49ers on Sunday Night Football? I still would make that switch, but I'm not mad about this game at all. And Lambeau on Sunday night's going to be fucking up. It's a place to be.
Look, I hate the Packers, but Lambeau on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, this is a good game. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you don't have a hatred or a love for the Packers or the Chiefs. If you're in between and you're just like, well, why not the Eagles or 49ers, right? Like, would you make the switch? Yeah, probably, because both of those teams are very, very good. But this game is still a marquee matchup, especially with where they're at, right? At Lambeau in December. Like you said, Kyle has been there. Kyle has been at Lambeau. Yeah. He has been there. He knows the energy. Yeah, 3 times. He knows the energy that's there. I have not been, but I can see through the TV how much of a effect that does have, especially on primetime. Jordan Love and the Packers, their offense has been reignited after last week. They got Christian Watson involved, Romeo Doubs. Their running backs went down, so it was almost like he had to throw some more to kind of get that spark in the passing game, right? So Jordan Love and that offense has been doing really well. The defense on the Packer side, by the way, doing really well. They did benefit from going against Jared Goff, who's been struggling as of late with those turnovers, with those fumbles. So they benefited from that. Hey, that's a nice little confidence boost, right? So let's really not just say, yeah, anybody could get a bunch of turnovers from Jared Goff. No, it's still a confidence boost if your defense can do that. The Chiefs coming off a big win against the Raiders, division rival, after they lost it close against the Eagles the week prior. Patrick Mahomes in the MVP race. Not a great season. Again, we've talked about it plenty of times where the defense for the Chiefs is really, I would say, more or less the glue that's holding this team together. You can't say it's Patrick Mahomes. He's having a down year. Even Travis Kelce sometimes has had some really bad games, and you've seen drops from the receivers, and they're improving on that. With all that being said, give me the Chiefs 27-16 against the Packers. Give me the Chiefs 27-16. There's a lot of doubt. Obviously, there's always those games where Patrick Mahomes, we're like, he hasn't been playing that good. I don't know if he's going to win this one. You've got to trust the results, trust the process with the Chiefs and what they've been doing. This defense is going to have a pick 6 against Jordan Love. Jordan Love is going to have a very, very good first half, get a touchdown, lead them down to some field goals. And then the second half is where I believe the domination on the defensive side for the Chiefs begins. And they really bring the pressure on him. And Jordan Love is still going to look decent, but he's going to get shut down in that second half.
I can respect it. I mean, what did I expect you to do? Come out here and be like, I got the Packers over the
Packers all day, baby.
Yeah, not happening. This is I wanted to look this up before I make the switch here. Because we got I got the date. All right. We got the Cincinnati Bengals going to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. This is going to be Monday Night Football. The Jaguars haven't played a Monday Night Football game since 2011. Wow. So it has been a very, very long time. The Jags are the better team, right? They're the one that has a quarterback for, playing. Since he's got a good team, man, it's just such a shame that Joe Burrow got hurt, because what a game, dude.
Yes.
What a game. Could you imagine Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence? Could you imagine how freaking
against David Gerard, against Blake Bortles,
against Brian Leftwich. No, this game's gonna be a good game. Jaguar fans, they deserve it. They better get used to primetime football games because they got themselves a quarterback that's going to keep them in primetime at least once a year moving forward. I'm taking the Jaguars to get a big win at home. This is going to be my big margin win. I'm going to go Jaguars 34 to I'm going to go 34 to 10.
Woo! That's a big fucking win. That's 24 points. That's 4 scores, Kyle.
Yeah,
I've never seen this from Kyle.
Duval's going to be lit, dude.
Oh, Duval is going to be insane if a score like that happens. And I could totally see that happening too. Like you said, it sucks that Joe Burrow is not, healthy for this game. Obviously, he had a season-ending injury, a couple weeks ago or so. So you're going to have Jake Browning come out and try to work a miracle against this Jaguars team. The thing is, I could kind of see this. I could kind of see this happening where the Jacksonville Jaguars struggle against the Cincinnati Bengals. And ask me why, Kyle.
Why, Rick?
For no reason at all. For literally no reason at all. Somehow Trevor Lawrence will throw some picks. They'll get tipped. Passes will get tipped, and it'll fall into the arms of Bengals defenders. I just feel like that could be something that could happen. Jamar Chase goes off. Jake Browning has more time with him, more practice time with him this last week running with the ones.
Joe Mixon only had 16 yards on 8 carries last week, and the Jags have one of the best run defenses in the league.
Yeah, 100%. And I could still see something like the Cincinnati Bengals winning like 17-14 or something like that.
You're like, yeah, I know. Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, I know. I had him on my fantasy lineup.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
And I could see that happening. What I think will happen is the Jaguars are going to dominate this game. They're going to dominate Jake Browning. They're going to shut down Joe Mixon, like you said. They're going to shut down a huge portion of this offense. Jamar Chase, knowing that he is not their only weapon, but the big one that they got to worry about, going to double team him, going to make sure he has a difficult, annoyed day on Monday Night Football. So I've got the Jaguars winning this one. It really isn't that difficult. I don't know if I have them winning 34-10, but I've got them winning by at least 2 scores, whether that be 10 or 14 points.
In Jacksonville, so I grew up in Jacksonville. I moved to Jacksonville when I was 8, and I stayed there until I was 17, and then I moved to Miami until I was 23.
Liar.
There's a chain restaurant called Tijuana Flats. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. No. It's all right. It's good.
Liar.
Me and my mom went to eat, and on a whim, we decided to buy Jags tickets and go to a game. I mean, it was like not planned. It was very sporadic, and it was like one of my favorite memories with my mom because she was doing it for me. That was the last time Jacksonville played on Monday night in 2011 against the San Diego Chargers.
Wow.
I was at that game. Jacksonville lost, and I remember my mom saying something, and she doesn't even remember saying this because I talked to her about it earlier.
Yeah.
I said, do you remember telling me it's just so sad because you can tell that the fans, they want to get into it. Like they're trying to get loud on third down there, but the Jags are just giving them nothing. You know what I mean? And they're just so defeated by the end of the game.
Oh, that sucks.
And it was so true though. Like I looked around and I'm like, I see all these people that they want to get into it, but there's just nothing to get into.
Deflating feeling.
It's a very deflating feeling. This time around, the Jag fans have something to be into. They have something to be happy about. They have a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think this game is it's so cool for the Jaguars organization in whole that they are playing important games on prime time. And it's really just great for the city of Jacksonville. And I'll always have love for them. They put me on the field.
They did.
Broncos didn't. The Jaguars did.
Broncos didn't.
I didn't ask, but
you did.
No, I didn't. The Jags.
You did.
I did actually like 4 years ago. they were like, no, Air Force only. And I was like, fuck you.
You fucking nerds.
Navy has more planes. So yeah, this is gonna be a good game and good vibes all around Duval. I think they
Good
get a
vibes.
big statement win.
Love
And
it.
Rick, that is the end of our week 13 predictions.
Let us know in the comments.
We agreed with every pick.
Yep, you guys agreed with all of our picks, even though we didn't.
Packers, Titans. Those are the only ones we disagreed on.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you guys, which one you guys disagree with us on, and what you think the biggest game of week 13 is. Let's move now, Kyle, into the playoff picture as we kind of gear up. Again, week 13, we've got 6 weeks of football left. It's a sad day. It brings a tear to my eye because this is literally our life. So when it's over, it's like, what do I do now? Go and touch grass outside, I guess. But we're going to take a quick look at the playoff picture and what it looks like. So Kyle, let's get right to the top. Who are our division leaders right now?
All right. So starting at the top, we got the Ravens. They're a division leader, but we're going in order from 1 seed down. So the Ravens have the number 1 seed. Then we have the Chiefs, number 2 seed. Jags at 3. Miami at 4. And I agree with you. I think Miami's going to lock that up. Steelers at 5. Now we're in the wild card spots. There's only 3 available right now. If the season ended, it would be Steelers, Browns, and Colts. On the bubble,
yep,
you got the Texans.
Yep.
Okay? So Colts are 6-5. Texans are 6-5. Browns lose to the Rams. Texans beat Denver. Texans are in the playoffs. Colts lose to Rams, or Browns lose to Rams, and Broncos beat Texans. All of a sudden, Denver moves up into the scenario a lot closer because they would have a 1 game. Because this might come down, this Denver Broncos and Houston Texans, this might come down to head-to-head. You know what I mean? Like, if they both end with a 10-6 record, this head-to-head is going to be who gets in. So what we'll do the AFC first. I don't want to mix conferences. Yeah. What do you think about this AFC picture? What do you think stays and what do you think changes? I think there's only 2 things that really change. I think it's probably 6 and 7 seeds. So do you see a scenario where the Colts, I think you picked them today, right? You said they're going to cling on to that 7 seed or the 6 seed, but the Browns are the team I believe you have going out.
Browns are going out. Browns are not making the playoffs. They just aren't, man. They are not making the playoffs with 0 quarterback. Their PJ Walker, DTR, whatever it is you want to call it. The Steelers are a very interesting choice, right? We talked about what they have to do in terms of offense to show us that, hey, firing Matt Canada was the right decision, right? These are the next few games. They got the Cardinals, the Patriots, the Colts, the Bengals, the Seahawks, and the Ravens. The Ravens, the Seahawks, the Colts, those are going to be some tough games. Now,
which
the Cardinals, this is the Steelers schedule.
Okay, the Steelers.
They're playing the Cardinals week 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, 17 and 18, that's when they play the Seahawks and that's when they play the Ravens. Ravens by week 18 will have the division wrapped up, so they may or may not play starters. It's going to be difficult. The Steelers may win that game, although those are still going to be tough no matter who's running in the Ravens team there. Seahawks going to be a tough game. Cincinnati Bengals, again, division foe, still going to be a tough game. The Indianapolis Colts, I have a feeling they're going to lose that game. And again, the Patriots before that, after the Cardinals in week 14, they could probably win that game. But again, they have to prove what they can do offensively. So depending on those games against the Ravens, against the Seahawks, and against really the Colts, is going to determine whether they're going to be that 5 seed or not. Because if they lose against the Colts and the Colts are looking sitting pretty close to them, they could edge them out of the playoff spot. You know, that could be a Colts are now a 5 seed versus a 7 versus a 6. You know, I think the Colts are going to end up 5 or 6, really, when it's all said and done, because of how well their offense is played. So, in terms of 5, 6, 7, who gets in? Colts and Broncos are my locks. Those are my locks.
Wow.
The Steelers, the Browns, and the Texans. The Steelers, the Browns, and the Texans.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
I think the Steelers get in. All right. Now, here's what might be surprising. I think that the Steelers are going to win the division, and I think the Ravens are going to be the wild card.
What?
I know. It's insane. I can't believe it either.
Crazy.
So,
You're crazy.
No. Hear me out. The Ravens are 9-3. The Steelers are 7-4. So they're only 1 game back. Ravens hadn't had a bye week until now. So the Steelers are only 1 game behind the Ravens. Let's look at the Steelers for a second.
They're 2 games. They're 2 or 3 games.
No, just 1.
Really?
Yeah, the Ravens have 3 losses. Steelers have 4.
Yeah, but how many wins do they have?
Well, there's a bye week for the Ravens this week, so it'll catch back up. So if the Steelers beat the Cardinals, they'll be 8-4. The Ravens will be 9-3. So they'll be 1 game back because the Ravens are.
Okay, so we're assuming they're already winning this week. Obviously we predicted it, but we're just like we're okay. I get you.
Yeah. I mean, but you wouldn't count the bye week again, like just because the Ravens haven't had a bye week.
Exactly.
That's why they have 9 wins. I'm not going to assume that the Cardinals are going to beat the Steelers either. At this point, I'm just going to say Steelers, they're a game back, so they need the Ravens to lose, and of course they need to win. But like you said, the Arizona Cardinals is probably a dub, and then we continue looking ahead, and then Patriots and Colts. Okay. So they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Patriots. What about the Ravens? These are some easy games for the Steelers. The Ravens, they're going to win. This is my prediction, okay? They're going to go 2-5 in their last 7. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No way.
2-3. They're going to go 2-3. And I think because of that, the Steelers actually, so they're playing the Rams next week. Okay. I think that might be one of the wins. Then they got the Jags. The Rams are going to be playing for the playoffs at this point. If they win on Sunday, this is going to be a playoff game for the Rams. Then they play the Jags. Then they play the 49ers. Then they play the Dolphins. And Rick, those are all very, very, very tough games. And then I think it comes down to week 18, Steelers, Ravens. I think the winner is going to win the division. And I think the Ravens are the better team by far. I just think the schedule is much more favorable for the Steelers down this home stretch. You got the Bengals without a quarterback. You got the Patriots and the Cardinals. The Colts and Ravens are really your hard games. And then the Seahawks, December 31st. I don't even know if they're going to be playing for anything after the lose streak that I think they're going to go on.
Damn.
So it seems crazy right now because we can't even believe the Steelers are in the playoffs somehow. But there is a scenario where the Ravens' opponents are too much and the Steelers kind of just bully all these lesser opponents and end up, beating the Ravens week 18 to take the division. The Ravens become the most dangerous wild card team.
I think the Ravens could go 3-2 in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think they could too.
I think they beat the Rams
4-1 maybe.
Yeah, I think they beat the Rams. I think Jacksonville and San Francisco are those toss-up games. I think they beat the Dolphins and the Steelers if it really does come down to a Week 18 Steelers versus Ravens division matchup. You want Lamar to have that first or home game, right? Possibly still be the 1 seed in the AFC. You're gonna want to buy. Absolutely get a buy. Why not? especially after a tough game that you play against the Steelers. Why not have that bye? That's going to help you out really in the long run. But the Steelers, the thing with the Steelers is, and you can make an argument for the Ravens, the Steelers are unproven in offense. Their defense is good, but even their defense has been like, what the fuck just happened in certain games, right? Like you look at it and you're like, I thought they had TJ Watt. I thought they had this really good defensive team, right? And somehow they got a bunch of points scored on them, whatever. But their offense is unproven. They fired Matt Canada, and like I said before, can they continue to do better on offense now that he's gone? That is yet to be determined. But they've been winning games somehow, and they obviously beat the Ravens earlier in the season on a very not boring, but it was a very unexpected type of low-scoring win. I still have the Ravens winning the division, but if it does come down to a Week 18 matchup for one of the division winner and possibly even just a playoff spot, which if you're battling for a division, I feel like you probably are battling for a wild card regardless. I think the Ravens take the dub.
Yeah, and for the Texans, their remaining schedule consists of the Browns, the Jets, the Texans twice, or the Titans twice. I mean, look at that. Jets, Titans, Browns, Titans, Colts. So
I don't hate that schedule though.
Oh my God, dude. It's like you might as well just give them 4. And that's why it's like the only game that is not an easy win is against Denver. And if the Texans
and the Colts.
Yeah, and the Colts. So I mean that just shows you how important this is, because if Denver can get a 1-game lead on the Texans, then if Texans win out, Denver wins out, they control their own fate. However, if Denver loses this game, you're going to be cheering for the Jets and the fucking Browns and Titans. No way, dude. You don't want to be in that boat. So Texans, really favorable schedule. And it's so favorable. I have to put them in. I just don't see them losing more than one of those games.
Yeah.
But this might just be one of those years where, because Texans, if they win out, they'll be 11, and they would, if Denver beats them, they could still finish 11-6. Does that sound right? 11-6. Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like that's definitely a playoff team. You know, the Browns are probably going to be that team that come out and start losing, and man, the Steelers are a lock, assuming if the Ravens switch, then it's the Ravens, but it's Steelers or the Ravens at 5.
Yeah.
At 6, I think it's going to end up being the Texans. And then I can hope Denver's at 6 and Texans are at 7. But luckily for Texans and Broncos, Colts are 6 and 5. So all these teams right now are tied. And I just don't know if the Colts are where the Texans are right now with Gardner Minshew, you know. So yeah, that's the AFC. I know we didn't talk about the Bills, but we should. The Bills are.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're the only other wild card of the wild cards. They are that team where can they will themselves into the playoffs off of winning out or whatever. They've got a tough schedule too, but let's not count the Bills out, even though I feel like a lot of people have, and I think I myself have even fucking counted them out.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But I have a hard time seeing the Bills get in the playoffs, even at a wild card.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to win out. Let's just call it what it is, and that's gonna be tough with that schedule. For the NFC, Eagles are the number 1 seed right now. They have a 2-game lead over the 49ers. That could be a 1-game lead with a win in Philly on Sunday. That's something I'm going to be monitoring. Just real quick, for the Eagles' remaining schedule, they're going to play the 49ers, then they play the Cowboys, then they play the Seahawks. Okay, but then they're going to finish with the Giants twice and the Cardinals. So I think they end up in this next 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks. I think they go, I'm going to say 2-1. I'm gonna say at worst they go 1-2.
Yeah.
At worst. So that would only add 2 losses. So they would still end the season with a 14-3 record. 49ers, if they win out, they'll be 14-3, but they'll have that tiebreaker over the Eagles. So this game is basically who's going to be the number 1 seed. And don't forget about the Cowboys. They're lingering. Number 3, we got the Lions. The Lions are definitely going to win the NFC North. No debate about it. And they only have 3 losses. I really think they're going to have a very big win over the Saints, and that might catapult them into I don't see the Lions going over the Eagles or the 49ers.
No, not at all.
I think they stay at number 3 for the entire rest of the year. I think they stay there. Number 4
in terms of NFC, yes, 100%.
Yeah. Number 4, Atlanta, because they got the win over the Saints. They are right now with a losing record, first in the NFC South. They're playing the Jets this week. That's probably going to end up putting the Falcons at 500. And then here, the Cowboys land 9-3, a wild card team right now because of the mother effing Eagles.
Yeah.
The Cowboys could end up being the number 1 seed in the entire NFC. They could end up winning their division, or they could stay put. I think probably they stay put, but it wouldn't surprise me the way they're playing if they string together some wins against those upper guys. And then the Vikings, they are on a I guess a losing skid, right? They lost to the Broncos, and then I believe they lost the next week
to the Bears,
and now they're on a bye. I think the Vikings are going to continue to lose. The Seahawks, 6-6, they're clinging onto the 7th seed. They got the Cowboys next week. I think that they're going to tumble out. So what I see in the NFC, and then I'll switch to you. There's only 2 spots available, 6 and 7. And by the way, I think both of these spots become available. Green Bay right now is 1 spot out of the playoffs. If they win against the Chiefs, they would go into, I think, the 6 or 7 seed. So that becomes a huge game. The Rams are right there with Green Bay. Exact same scenario. Both the Rams probably a easier opponent playing the Browns. Definitely an easier opponent. So I actually think Green Bay can lose this game and still make the playoffs. I just know that it would be like, okay, well, you have to win out. It would be like that. So this becomes a huge game on Sunday night for the Packers' playoff hopes. When you look, and then we got the Saints right here, just 1 game out. I don't want to leave them off because this division, fuck, dude. I mean, it's anybody's division to take.
Yes.
And then we get to like the Giants, Bears, Commanders, Cardinals, and Panthers. Giants are climbing. They're on a 2-game win streak. They have a bye week.
Somehow.
In this conference, never say never. That's the way I look at it. Like the Bears could win out and go 10-8, or no, 9-8. That might be enough. That might be enough. Because I think the Owls are going to pile up here, not just for like, I think all of the NFC, because remember the AFC is so much better. That the AFC has such a dominant record over the NFC. So the Vikings and the Seahawks, Packers, Rams, I could see all of these teams just kind of struggling, win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. And your wild card teams have losing records. And it's just it's a weird year. The AFC is loaded, and that's why all these teams are 6 and 5. And then the NFC is probably going to have a couple wild card teams, 7 and 8 seed, that are going to have losing records potentially. Maybe not. Maybe they get in at 9 and 8, or but I just don't see any of these teams like winning out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and for me, the NFC is, it's not as simple as the AFC, right? Because the AFC, I'm more or less like those division winners, the division leaders right now, 1 through 4, it's a lock, right? Whereas the NFC 1 through 3, they are a lock. When we get to the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons, that division is going to end up either in their hands or the Saints' hands. That's the only division I could see flip-flopping at the end of the season, from here to the end of the season. Now, when it comes to wild cards, Cowboys, they're a lock. No doubt about it. They're going to be the 5 seed. Like, there is just no doubt about it. 6 and 7, Vikings, Seahawks. Vikings, like you said, those losses are coming in bunches right now. You got the loss against the Bears. You got the loss against the Broncos, right? The Bears being probably one of the ones you really wanted to get to really have you at 7 and 5 right now and maybe in a more comfortable position.
And they have the Lions twice.
The Lions twice still. And I believe
Raiders they have Bengals sprinkled in there, but Lions twice and Packers.
And Packers. Yeah, those division matchups are going to be tough. So the Vikings, I can see out of a wild card. The Seahawks, it sucks, man, because the Seahawks have such a difficult stretch of games as well coming up, and they've already played a couple of them where they've lost bad against the 49ers and now the Cowboys. This wasn't a bad loss against the Cowboys, but it was a loss regardless, and that's always bad. So they have a tough stretch of games coming up even after the Cowboys. The Packers, again, I don't think they're going to beat the Chiefs. And honestly, I can see them sneak into the playoffs past the Vikings. It's just the Rams are right there. And the Rams, I think, can also get into the playoffs. Honestly, I can maybe even see 3 teams from the NFC West and 2 teams from the NFC East be in this playoffs with the Seahawks, with the Rams, and with the Cowboys. The NFC North, the Vikings and the Packers, not good enough. The Saints are the 10th seed right now. And they're either going to win the division or they're going to be out of the playoffs. The Bucks, not good enough. Giants, not good enough. Bears, Commanders, Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, definitely not good enough. A lot of things have to happen for these really like bottom leaching teams, like for them to even sniff a playoff spot. Really, when you look at it, it's the Rams, it's the Seahawks, it's the Cowboys, and it's a mixture of either the Falcons or the Saints winning that division and being in the playoffs.
Could I tempt you with something?
What's up?
The whole thing about Denver landing at 7 or 8 in the wild card, or 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a scenario where Denver just straight up wins their division? Because
I wanted to put that up there for you, but I just have a hard time seeing the Chiefs collapse. Now look,
if they lose to the Packers, they play the Bills, who are coming off a bye the next week.
And that's why I started thinking about it too, because the Chiefs lost this year against the Broncos for the first time in 9 years, something like that. So, I don't want to bring it up, but hey, that's over with. That is over with. So, streaks are meant to be broken. Chiefs can lose. Denver can win. They can be division winners.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. But fuck, dude, that would get me so hard.
Do I think it'll happen? Unfortunately, no, Kyle, I don't. I really do think the Broncos are a wild card team. And yeah, I did. I was thinking about it, though. I was thinking of bringing it up because I was like, ooh, that is interesting. But the Chiefs collapse. The Chiefs, if at the beginning of the season you said, what's more likely to happen, the Chiefs winning streak against the Broncos being broken or the Chiefs completely collapsing in the second half of the season, I'm like, oh yeah, the Chiefs are going to lose to the Broncos this year. You know what I mean? And obviously it happened, but the collapse, I can't see it happen.
Well, they got the Packers on Sunday night. That'll be a tough one. Then they play the Bills on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, that'll probably be a get-right game. They do have Raiders and Chargers. Probably wins. But the Chargers always play the Chiefs tough. And then the Bengals will be a dub, which basically sums up to, like, if the Packers don't beat the Chiefs, Denver's not taking the division. So it really
You're really rooting for the Packers.
Yeah. It really does come down to that game. So that's the playoff picture as it stands right now. This is This is one of the most fun times a year
Mm-hmm.
to see, man, the Packers just getting 2 wins in a row puts
Mm-hmm.
them from here,
Mm-hmm.
just getting 2 freaking wins. And all of a sudden it's like, it's hard to even remember that you were just 3-6 and the season was over. Now all of a sudden you're 1 game out. And this is what's so fun about the NFL. And I'm just hoping that our fun has just begun. I would really hate for just L's to start piling.
Yeah, I 100% get you, and I love when the playoff teams, the 1 through 7, and in the hunt graphics start popping up in games during the season. Like, I love that. It really, like, okay, I know the season's almost over, but the playoffs are almost here, and that is exciting football. No matter if it's a wild card, a divisional round, championship round, it's all super exciting, and it all leads to the biggest gaming event of the year, the Super Bowl. So
the all staple.
The all staple. But yeah, that's my NFC. Again, I have a tough time seeing anyone from the NFC South other than the division winner being in it, or anyone from the NFC North other than the division winner being in it. So that's what I got.
Yeah, basically no bold predictions.
Sorry, I'm not bold this week, Kyle.
Oh man. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen,
It's time. For what, Kyle? For the
time. It is time for the chives. I like to keep the chives light and happy. They're not going to be today. And
oh my God.
Today was a weird sports day. We have 2 players that have been kind of like a model player of 2 different leagues that just can do no wrong. LeBron James for basketball, like his manager got caught gambling on basketball games, and he's been going off the last couple of games, and it's just funny because it's like he's in trouble. And you know, when the NBA has like their golden child, they want to protect him. So the fact that this even got leaked is really, really bad. The one that is upsetting the most is right here.
Von Miller.
Von Miller's mugshot has officially been released as 7 hours ago. Von Miller arrested in Dallas. He was charged with assaulting his pregnant girlfriend. Star NFL linebacker Von Miller is accused of assaulting his pregnant girlfriend at their high-rise apartment in Dallas this week. According to multiple police sources, police officials, and court documents obtained by WFAA Thursday, so they're just telling you how they know that. Dallas police officials confirmed that a warrant for a third-degree felony charge of assaulting a pregnant person has been issued to 34-year-old Von Miller, who plays for the Bills. He immediately posted a $5,000 bond and was released from custody. So Von Miller's not in jail right now. The Bills, they released a statement saying, "We were made aware of the incident following Von Miller. We're in the process of gathering more information and will have no further comments on this point." The police said that around 11 a.m. on Wednesday, they had responded to a major disturbance call in his high-rise. Officers arrived and found Miller's longtime girlfriend with minor abrasions on her left hand and bruising on her neck, injuries consistent with applied pressure to the neck, according to the arrest warrant. I'm just gonna put it like this: that's really terrible. There and there's a difference between giving someone the benefit of the doubt and you're not guilty until you're innocent until proven guilty.
Proven guilty, yeah.
Right. And I'm a big believer in that. I the facts need to come out. Anybody can say anything. I'm a victim of that, so I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to hold off to have any kind of opinion on it. But nonetheless, terrible news.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a light that we haven't seen Von Miller in. he's just such a leader, and he's so positive, and it's just so kind of left field. And I think that's another reason why innocent until proven guilty is because like sometimes, things just don't seem like, oh, that's not him. I've been watching this guy for over, a decade, and I've never seen, but you never know who people really are. So I'm just reporting the news here. But as a Denver Broncos fan, I hated to see this one, but it is major news in the NFL. So yeah, I drop it off at the Chives.
Damn, that's insane, man. I had no idea that Miller got arrested for that. I must have missed it on some of my notifications. I get so much notifications, dude, that I just fucking swipe them away now that I'm just like, whatever. I just read the NFL ones, the ones that like pertain to my fantasy league now. But yeah, crazy Chives and LeBron thing, the Von Miller thing, insane. But always remember, get all the facts, get all the information and wear a condom during you going to jail. Just always get the information first. Always get the facts. Never jump on it. Don't be me. Don't be just recency bias. They're gonna lose. This person's guilty. They're an asshole. Although most of the times they are an asshole. But
plus I'm not saying this like she did it. I'm just saying anybody can hurt themselves. You know what I mean? Like
that's true.
There was, it's one thing if it's like this was in a public place, but it's in the privacy of his house, and there's really, I don't know, but Von Miller Von Miller's a very wealthy person, and he could have been cheating or something. People go crazy about that shit.
Yeah,
we just don't know, what kind of chaos. We do know chaos happened, but we don't know any details about it. So we'll keep you updated with that news. And sorry to leave on a down note. It's major news, and hopefully it gets resolved soon. I hope that they can settle without going to court or anything. Maybe drop the charges, depending on what happened. If he fucked her up, then he needs to be held accountable. But
100%, because remember, knowing's half the battle.
Yes. And you miss 99% of the shots you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Michael Jordan.
The Office.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for our Week 12 predictions episode. Obviously, we talked about Week 12 predictions and the playoff picture, what it looks like now, ended it with the Chives. Thank you, everybody who was in the comments. Quincy. We had Bill. And we had a couple other people as well during our live stream of Thursday Night Football. And if you're tuning in after the live stream, please drop a like, please follow, please drop a comment. We always love having conversations with people who follow us and comment and have conversations with us. We love having conversations with y'all in the comments. So please make sure to do that. And you can follow us on Twitter, where we also have a ton of conversations with our followers. At And Now Rick. For myself, you could follow the Only Football Twitter at Only Football KR. Kyle, where can they follow you on Twitter?
Right there, FTBLONLYPODCAST. Follow.
Go follow. Send us some DMs. Send us, tag us in some shit. Bill is always tagging us and sending us stuff, and it's always a great time. Him, Angel, Lil E, a bunch of other people are always having great conversations with us, and we're always talking back. We're always talking shit with each other. We love it. So go ahead and follow us, and please subscribe and like the video, share the video to all your friends and family, and let them know about Kyle and I, about a sad Bears and Broncos fan, maybe more sad on the Bears side, getting a little bit happier on that side with the Broncos. Right, Kyle?
I'm just getting set up for the ultimate drop. That's all this is. They got to find new creative ways to break your heart. They can't just do it the same way. They're like, no, well, maybe. No.
As a Bears fan, I know that all too well. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you, everybody who watched. Kyle, always a pleasure. I'll see you next time, brother.
Hell yeah. I love it.
See ya.